Hello friends, how are you today? So good to see you again. Today we're going to be writing Cinquain poetry. Now I've heard it pronounced Cinquain and Cinquain, but it seems like the more common pronunciation for this word is Cinquain. Okay, so almost like the word cane, C-A-N-E. That's the way you would pronounce that. Cinquain, C-I-N-Q-U-A-I-N, Cinquain. Now, Cinquain poetry is poems of 5 lines, so they're not super difficult to write because they are just 5 lines. They were invented by an American woman poet about 100 years ago. And they're similar to haiku in that they are a limited amount of lines. And we use different parts of speech. So Cinquain poems are 5-line poems which has different parts of speech to describe a topic. Okay, to describe. Now, what are parts of speech? Well, that's what we've been covering the last bunch of days. Parts of speech are nouns, verbs, adjectives. And one thing you're about to learn about today, if you don't know about it already, are synonyms. So if you have not done the lesson on synonyms, I would like you to stop this right here and do that lesson first. If you don't know what synonyms are particularly, that's something you need to study before we do this, because you are going to have to know what a synonym is and how to form a word that is a synonym. Okay, so that'll be really important. So you're going to use nouns, verbs, adjectives, and synonyms, which are called parts of speech, to make a 5-line poem. Okay, so here is an example of a Cinquain poem. Ready? Kittens, adorable, fluffy, purring, scratching, playing, grow up too quickly, cats. Okay, so that's an example right there of a Cinquain poem. Now let's look at what we did on each line here. Ready? So you have to come up with a topic. And this person came up with a topic of kittens because they really love kittens. Okay? So that's where you're going to use your planning sheet. So you need a 1-word title that is a noun. It could be kittens, it could be flowers, it could be pencils, it could be dogs. You need to pick a topic that you really want to write about. Okay? So that's your first thing. Okay, your next line, let's see, they say adorable and fluffy. What part of speech was that? Adorable and fluffy. Those are describing words. They're words that describe nouns. Do you remember? Yeah, that's right. Adjectives. So your next line is going to be, so we've already covered nouns. That was our first line. First line. Our second line was 2 adjectives. Okay, 2. Your second line was 2 adjectives. All right, so this is adjectives that describe this noun. Kittens, they're adorable, and they're fluffy, right? That describes a cat or a kitten. The next one is going to be 3 verbs. Okay, and here's your planning sheet again. So we already did 1 noun. That was kittens. We already did the second line, which was 2 adjectives, adorable and fluffy. And now our third line here is going to be 3 verbs ending in ing. Remember, verbs are what? What type of words? That's right, they're action words. Action words. So you need 3 words that are action words that end in ing. So instead of saying purr or scratch or play here, purring, scratching, playing. Okay? 3 verbs that end in ing. Let's look at the next line here. Grow up too quickly. Grow up too quickly. Now, Let's flip over to our planning sheet. So the fourth line is grow up too quickly. The fourth line here, 1, 2, 3, 4 on your planning sheet, is 4-word phrases. Now a phrase, as we know, is not a full sentence. It's a phrase. Too hot out. Water feels cold, right? It's not a full sentence. I'm not saying the water feels cold or it's too hot out. A phrase is shorter than a sentence, but that phrase still makes sense when you say it, right? Too hot out. Okay, that's a phrase that you understand what I'm saying. It's too hot outside. I want to go inside and cool off, okay? So how do you feel about the topic? A 4-word phrase about how you feel about the topic. So this person's topic is kittens, right? How do they feel about them? That they grow up too quickly, right? They grow up too quickly. You know, they're only kittens, like really playful, playing with a ball of yarn, playing with other kittens, like running around, going crazy. They're only doing that for maybe 4 or 5 months. And then after that, they start to, grow into adulthood. By the time they're around 1 year old, they're growing into an adult cat. But they really only have that super playful time for a much shorter period of their full life, right? So this person is saying the thing about kittens is they grow up too quickly. That person would like them to be kittens for longer. Okay, so that's how you feel about a topic. The last line, cats. Okay, so what is on the planning sheet for that last line? A 1-word synonym for the title. Okay, we know the title is kittens. We know a synonym, and again, if you have not watched the synonyms yet video, which I posted today, watch that first, pause this, and come back to it, because this may not make sense then. Okay, so synonym means same. So kittens and cats, right? They're not exactly the same word. A kitten is a small cat that's young, right? But they're the same word. I mean, you're talking about kittens, you're talking about cats. We know what species you're talking about. So cats would be a synonym for kittens, right? And that's meeting that requirement. 1-word synonym for the title. The title is kittens. So whatever your first line is here, that is also going to be your title. And that's the way you end it. Now, let me explain one more thing about Cinquain Poetry. Okay, Cinquain Poetry also uses the idea that we should have different syllables per line. Like this should be 2 syllables, this should be 4, this should be 6. We're not doing that. You know why? Because then it gets too complicated. Okay, and we've already done that. We've already done that with another type of poetry. So I don't really see the need to do that and to complicate things, because that's a lot of things to think about. You know, we're just learning about verbs, we're just learning about adjectives, we're just learning about synonyms, we probably knew more about nouns. Then we have to write it and make sure that each of these lines are a bunch of certain syllables. I don't see the need to do that. I don't want to make it confusing. I really just want us to enjoy writing poetry, and because we've already done that, I'm okay with us not doing that. But just keep in mind, that's another form of Cinquain Poetry, is making sure that each of these lines are a certain amount of syllables. So clearly this line, if you're just looking at this poem, is 2 syllables. This last one would be 1. But do you see how, if you follow this pattern, it makes almost like a diamond shape of the words? Or to me, maybe it's because I'm looking forward to football season. It almost looks like the side of a football. But notice that because of what it's asking you to do on the planning sheet here, 1-word title, 1-word synonym. You know, on the bottom and on the top, you're just going to have 1 word. Those are going to be shorter lines, and it's going to help give that shape. That one in the middle, okay, is 3 verbs with ing. Painting, cleaning, scratching, drawing. Those are all longer words. You put 3 of those together, and they're probably going to make your longest lines. So at the end, it has this shape to it, and that's another way to identify a Cinquain poem. All right, great. So have fun with that. You know, I was going to go ahead and write a Cinquain poem. I didn't really see the need to do that. I think I've explained it really well. If I thought I had to explain it more, I would, but I don't want to over explain it. Okay, I think that I've given you enough information to go with it. I know your family is helping you out with these two older brothers or sisters or moms or dads or aunts or uncles or grandpas or uncles or cousins or friends. Somebody's going to be helping you out with this probably. So, with what I went over with you, I think you have enough, and I'm confident in you as writers that you can just take this and run with it. All right? So, I cannot wait to see your Cinquain poems. We're not going to review them tomorrow. I'm sorry, we're not going to review them today for our read aloud, but we will share them tomorrow, Thursday. Okay, so for our read aloud time and our share time of work. So if you hopefully you have it done by then, and I'm just letting you know ahead of time that that would be a great time to share that. All right, happy poetry writing. Enjoy Cinquain poems. Oh, just one more thing. So I'm sending you this. I'm sending you this, and then I'm also sending you this. It's just a blank space to go ahead and write your poem. And I'm sorry, I know it doesn't have lines, but if you just take a ruler like this, if you just take a ruler like this, and just lightly make a line, it's easy. You can just make 5 lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that'll help you line up your words and your letters and make it look nice and neat. Can't wait to see him. Have fun.